Good day, good afternoon, YouTube viewers. It's Nandi again from Nandi-Amava. It's been a while that I speak with you guys. A lot has been happening. A lot is happening in our country, in our global community. As we know, it's Corona. So I was in rather a sensitive space because I've lost people that are dear to me through Corona. But today it's not about that. I was just indicating why it's been a while that I haven't uploaded some video. Today I think we'll be talking about a very sensitive word: forgiveness. Forgiveness is a very mouthful word, if I can put it like that. Why you have to forgive? Who is being forgiven? As you know, in the past episode that I uploaded, Nandi is a mom that you know. I've been through worst situation. I've been through rejection. I've been through betrayed. Yeah, I've married my husband that you know about. And after a while, I happen to have my daughter. I already have my firstborn. I have my secondborn. It was a roller coaster. The pregnancy itself was complicated, in and out in hospital because of emotional stress, physical not well-being, feeling unloved, doing things that were affecting my pregnancy, going around, binge, do all sorts of things. But what the subject matter of today, the forgiveness, it went on and on until I gave birth to my baby. Yeah, I had a beautiful baby girl. Life went on. And in a long run, I discover through my baby, because she was in and out in hospital, that happened to infect her. Because after birth, there was nothing that made me to think that, okay, even during pregnancy, that I must ask the medical personnel to do some HIV tests. In the mid-90s, late 90s, it was not as if today, because today, when you're pregnant, it's paramount that one has to be tested to protect the unborn child. That was not the case. And then I happened to discover when the child was getting sick in and out in hospital. And then up until some lady that I used to stay nearby suggested that I take the child to a local hospital for the children, as that time I was in Cape Town. And then there I asked the nurses that if the HIV test can be done. To cut the long story short, the test was done. The results came back positive, and I also asked the test to be done on me. The results were done and they came positive. I told him. He acted as if he's fine. To me, it was a bit shocking because there was never a blaming. He never blamed me. He never said, you brought this. Instead, his comment was, okay, fine, we'll support each other. But the support, it was only verbally, because practically he was never there when the child is sick or when the child was reacting from the ARV treatment. And also when I was going through depression, he was never there. But it continued. He was in his pace, he was on his race, doing all sorts of things, going in and out, going wherever he feels like going, dating whoever he feels like dating openly. Because some of his shenanigans, the woman would phone me and swear at me, name call me. But I kept my cool, because I told myself it's not worth me stressing. But it continued until, and then I decided, you know what, let me go for counseling, because I had some lady, an elderly person who I regarded as a mom, was also my neighbor. And then she suggested that I involve myself with different programs, empowerment, counseling. And then I was strong enough I could withstand whatever he was throwing my way. And then up until years later, a few years later, the HIV take its toll on him. And then he started showing signs because he would binge and take ARVs and go out and sleep out. And I mean, what I know now and than I know then, he would go, obviously, he would reinfect himself because when he was under influence, a safety precaution I don't think were taken into consideration. So he continued doing that up until the sign shows that he was not well. And then I suggested to him that, you know what, something is going on with you. And as I did my personal research and in my personal journey with HIV and have to raise an HIV positive child and also have an HIV negative child, as a mom, I had to have these both caps to stand raising both these kids because they were both my kids. And I have to give all the love with the support I have to give them and with few people that were close to me that time. And up until I realized that this man might have managed it. It was just symptoms that I saw, but he refused until it was very late. And then by the time he was admitted, he was very sick. And in that period, still, he was stubborn as ox, if I can put it like that. He didn't want to accept that he's sick, but was admitted. As the time goes, and I pray to God because I remember saying to him in the early stages of our infection, of our knowing our HIV, I said, you know what? You know something that I don't know. And you know for a fact that you're the one who brought it because the reason I knew I had several tests before I met him because as I lost my brother in the early 90s. So my reaction was to go and test. I remember doing tests 9 times up until one nurse in one local clinic called me in and asked Nandi, why you doing tests? You did the first test and you were in window period, you came back, and every month now you come and do the test, of which it's not possible. Why are you doing that? Up until I scream and cry, but I did get the comfort, the counseling. I dealt with it. So by the time this was happening to him, I was already strong, and I told him, I said, you know what, one day there'll come a time whereby one of us need to confess, and you know something that I don't know. It's only on his deathbed that when one of his brother asked, tell me, how did you get to know this HIV? Don't accept the guilty, whereas maybe you're not even the one who brought this. You know, most our culture, the makoti is always on the wrong, even if there's nothing wrong you've done. And I thank God for that because when he opened up, he was looking at me and we were in the hospital, private clinic that we were in, and it was family gathering around. He confessed and said he knew his HIV status 4 years earlier he met me. When he came to me, he knew exactly that he's living with HIV, but he didn't have guts to disclose to me that he's living with it. Immediately when he said that, because to me, it answers my concern and it was like my prayers were answered because now I will have this closure of knowing that he's the one who brought HIV to me. I said to him immediately, I forgave him. You will ask yourself, how is that possible? It is because I look back and look where I am and look where I was that time because I was strong emotionally, I was strong physically, I was already doing some public talks and I was meeting different people, I was getting the support and my daughter was okay because I made it a vow. I made a vow that my daughter will be fine as long as I live. So I chose to forgive him. I told him, I said, I forgive you. And I meant it because I, I decided to forgive him because I told myself I refuse to be his slave because I didn't want to have this burden, the anger and start, because I already dealt with it when I was diagnosed with HIV. I went all the stages. So that's why to me, today I feel like, let me talk about forgiveness. It is important, because you don't remain slave of somebody. You don't wait until that person says to you he's sorry or she's sorry, because he never said sorry until it was late and he passed on. But to me, I'm the happiest that I made the decision of forgiving him. This continues. Today I think I'll have to come to an end, but what is important? Forgiveness. You forgive the perpetrator. Yes, it's not easy. One will say it's not easy, but remaining angry doesn't solve anything. Instead, you are the victim. You remain angry, you remain emotionally broken, you're not complete. So for me, I'm not saying this applies to everybody. It's how I handle it. But years later, as I know, like now it's 29 years down the line, I'm living with it, HIV positively. It was the best decision that I made. I thank God for that, and I thank the support, and I thank my kids. My kids are my pillar, because they are like my sisters. I've got my siblings, but my sisters, my kids are always that support system, are always that part of me that I feel like I have to push forward. I have to push harder for them. I'm a granny to an 8-year-old. So he's the reason also for me to say, you know what, I need to leave. This is the reason for me. I think for now, YouTube viewers, you know, your subscription will be appreciated. Your viewing, your sharing. It's Nandi-Amava girls. I appreciate. I've seen in the past episode that there's likes, there's subscription. Thank you so much. Your support is much appreciated. Thank you.